You started with Jeremy Jacquet in the other room, so I'll start again with him. How pleasing to get that one over the line, albeit you have to wait until some.
Yeah, very pleasing, of course, because first of all, he's a very big talent, and maybe even more than only a talent. But we speak about talent because of his age, of course. Second of all, because we weren't the only one interested in him. So another big compliment for the people that working every single day so hard to sign players, that we were able to sign such a big talent. And another example of the model we are using at this club. So young, very talented players, sometimes in the start of their career, sometimes already a little bit a few years into their career, but always players that are young and can improve us and help us for the short, but definitely also for the long term. And we've signed a lot of them recently. And I've said many times that the mid to long term future, but even the short term future of this club is in a very, very, very good place.
The here and now, how is the injury situation at the back? Where's Jeremie Frimpong at? And Joe Gomez as well?
Jeremy will definitely not train this week, so he's not available for the weekend. With Joe, we have a little bit of hope. Hope is the way, I think, that he might train tomorrow, Saturday. So not available to start, but maybe available to help the team if needed during the game. Because as you already know, there are not that many defenders available at the moment.
How would you somewhat the kind of test against Manchester City once again? Because at times, like, and we saw it against last week, he's shown fallibility. Yeah, of course, you know that Pep Guardiola will still see them as big contenders, and the pressure is on really to maintain some kind of pace or touch a distance with Arsenal at the top.
Yeah, what I mainly remember is the game we played over there. In the first half, we were completely outplayed for large parts, not for the complete 45 minutes, but for large parts. So it's another moment for us to see where we are in the development of this team. So that is. That, of course, being said, we also know the importance of a result on Sunday, but that goes for all the 20 teams that are playing this weekend in the Premier League. It's the end phase of the season, so results matter more and more. And a very good team that were even able to win yesterday against the team that we beat during the weekend, not even with their starters. So that tells you, combined with the game we've played against them, what a force City still is and always will be, I think.
Hi Arne, I wonder, the performance you showed against Newcastle, particularly after the first half hour, is that as well as your Liverpool team was played this season?
No, I think we played much better than that, to be honest, but it was a good last hour. The first half hour wasn't as we wanted it to be. Again, for obvious reasons, because if you dive in data, and I think that's what you're going to do in a second, because that's your world. But the first half hour, we didn't play that much. There were a lot of set pieces, which took a lot of time. And then it's difficult to find momentum, to find the same tempo and pace as we had in the last hour. But I liked our last hour, but for me, it wasn't our best. I think we've played many games, really good football. Unfortunately, we're not always able to be that good in both boxes. Now, in the last two games, we've been really good in both boxes. And then people start to notice that our football might be better as well. But that football part has always been, for 95% of the minutes we've played, for me, far above an acceptable level. But both boxes have been not good enough throughout maybe 95% of the time. Now in the last two games that was, and then all of a sudden it's not only the performance but the result looks different as well.
What was it about the performance that you liked? What were the elements that you felt, aside from the boxes really, generally that is working?
No, a combination of many things. I think off the ball we were really good. So it was the third goal we scored came from a high press and a very good transition moment. We had a few very good transition moments, and I see also individual performances that are getting better and better and better because these players are getting fitter and fitter and fitter, and are adjusting more and more towards Premier League, Champions League amount of games, And again, we are going to a week where we have to again play 3 games in 7 days. And not the most simple ones. It isn't as if we had a very easy FA Cup draw. So 3 strong teams to face in 7 days again. So that is another challenge that we are facing this week.
You said that about individuals getting fitter and being able to show more and more what they can do. I'm guessing Florian Wirtz comes into that. I mean, how good is it now to be able to see him consistently showing his best form, and how much of that is the fact that you have worked specifically to get his physical attributes up to this level?
No, I think it's all first and foremost always credit to the player, because he has to do the work, not only on the pitch, also in the gym. And then as a manager, even if he is maybe physically struggling a little bit in the start, you need to keep on playing him, because that's the only way players can improve. And he is an example of that, where I had many of them this season. I think he did not even improve that much on the ball, because from the start he was special on the ball. Maybe now he has better connection with his teammates because he played more and more together. That's also what you get if you play them more and more together. But off the ball, I see the biggest improvement with him and with some others. And that combination makes you ready for the Premier League, because the Premier League is about both. It's not only on the ball, it's also definitely off the ball.
Thank you.
Hi, Arne. You said about this will be a good test to see about the development of your players. For quite some time, these are 2 teams that went toe-to-toe in competitions. I just wondered, how do you assess right now your squad, your performances with City? Where do you see them at the moment?
Yeah. No, I don't know if I said that, but if I said players, I meant team. So where are we as development of this team? Because that we have very good players that we are aware of, but that almost everyone has in the Premier League, but we definitely as well. But the development of the team, how we are able to play against them now in our own stadium in front of our own fans, that's very helpful as well. How do I see this? I think we've shown, maybe apart from that first half and the first half against Palace, that we were able to compete with any team that we faced. Unfortunately, we haven't found the consistency to get the results consistent results. But I think we've shown against, I can come up with all the names, that we are able to compete, except for large parts of the first half against City, where I think they were better than us. But it also helped that a goal of us was disallowed, and for, in my opinion, the wrong reasons, that they got a penalty after a VAR interference, which was light for me as well. So these things also matter in a game, but we conceded a set piece. Doesn't help in general as well. But they were the better team, and I think we want to show a different side of us this time.
Well.
Sorry, on Jacquet, you obviously brought in 2 young centre-backs as well this month.
Yeah.
And then in the summer you bring in the Latin through from Austria as well. Is that an area the club have recognised maybe needs strengthening, and ultimately is the club starting to look for a real long-term success that whenever Eddie Van Dijk ultimately does come on, he needs to stay back in the summer?
Now, you are longer here than I am. So I think if I tell you that this club does everything they do with a reason, I don't think you are surprised. So everything that is done over here is never from panic, or is always a long-term idea, or something that has been thought about for a long time by not only one person, but by multiple persons. So, of course, we are aware of the fact that Virgil will not play for this club 10 more years, but he has 1.5 year contract left. So he will be with us for that period of time, and maybe even longer. If he keeps staying as fit as he is now, because I said it before, what a compliment to him at his age to play every 3 days, not only for our club, but also for his country, for 7 or 8 months already. So yeah, hopefully he can stay as fit as he is for multiple years. But this club, we are not stupid. We do know that somewhere in the upcoming years there is life for this club without Virgil, and So you are now talking about Virgil, but I can say this for every position. This club is not only thinking about short-term future, but also for the mid to long-term future in the decisions we make. Sorry.
Let's ask you a little bit about Curtis Jones. It's obviously we've been externally read some reports that you might get on in the innovative window, and I know you said on Saturday it's the key to keep the squad strong, but just took his role in the team and squad this season. How do you sort of assess that?
I think what you've seen, he's played a lot of minutes, not all of them, but I think he's also unlucky in the sense that it's probably the only line where we haven't had injuries. But still he's played a lot of minutes. So that's of course why we kept him as well, because we have in that line a lot of players, but we need these midfielders in different positions as well. And the moment you start to need midfielders in different positions, then the line in midfield gets smaller and smaller. So yeah, good. Of course we kept him, and his situation hasn't changed to us. He's one of the 16 outfield players we have available for a long term now, and also at this moment of time, with two really young players, with Trey and Rio included. So yeah, would be a bit strange if we would let anyone go if you only have 16 available.
Among other individual improvements, you have kept as much as well, maybe after some early difficulties. What specific things were on Beckham to help his progress? That did his role change tactically?
Compared to Bournemouth or in this season?
Well, this season.
This season. Yeah, no, I don't think. Yeah. Yeah, this is what you get if you play longer together with your teammates. This is what you get if you keep playing those players, even if they are maybe sometimes have moments in games that are not as good as other moments, or games that have not been as good as other games. But this is also normal for younger players, and the only thing you can do as a manager is keep trusting them and keep believing in them, because we know who we sign, and we saw his potential, and we knew, and it already has been shown that potential will be seen if you keep playing them. And but there are a lot of games to be played, and for him it was the first time the combination of Premier League and Champions League. That's why I'm also so happy to have Robbo in the squad, because he has helped the team on multiple occasions as well. But definitely Milos is another example of a very young player we've signed, where the best of him is still to come, and he's already developed this season. Progressed is the word.
Hi, Anna. Not a data question for a change.
Okay.
You mentioned before the early part of the game against Newcastle didn't go as planned. I think there were multiple times where Newcastle had counter-attacks, where they had multiple runners in behind your real midfield. And if you look at the Manchester City game last night, they scored from quite a few similar situations, running with fast runs like the defence. I just wonder.
You were talking about City now, how City scored and how we created our chances.
Well, yeah. So Newcastle had opportunities where they were running in behind your midfield before they scored, and then if you look at the Manchester City goals, they're kind of similar in terms of how City were able to score those goals. I wonder how difficult is it to keep that security even when you are trying to attack, obviously, a game at home, a big game, you don't want to be on the front foot attack. How important is it to keep that security even when you're on?
Yeah. Now, if you come with data, there's no debate, because then we always agree, because data is a fact. Now we have a different opinion, because I was, to a certain extent, surprised to see the first half hour of Newcastle against Man City, because of course I watched that game, and it was completely opposite to the one we've played. So the amount of long balls Newcastle played against us, compared to how much they played against City, was, I couldn't see a bigger difference than that. And the one time they did, then Burn headed it to to Anthony Gordon, who was in front of the goalkeeper with a big chance. So, for me, you cannot compare these games in terms of tactics or playing style, but I did see that there were certain similar situations, as you just said. No, controlling a counter-attack is, of course, crucial, especially if you have a lot of ball possession. But usually when you play against City, it's not sure that you will have more ball possession than them. But in almost all the other games we had, that is the situation. And I think in the beginning of the season, when we had so much ball possession, I think we're maybe the team with the most ball. Data again. We are maybe the team with the most ball possession. So that tells you what ideas we have about football. But it also tells you then if you have the ball, usually that's a lot in their half. So you have to be very well protected for the counter-attack. In the start of the season, that was not always as I wanted it to be. So that's why we adjusted a little bit in the middle after we lost so many games. And now we have to find the perfect balance, as I said so many times, in creating enough chances to score, but being able hardly to concede a counter-attack. But I think we did really well against Newcastle with all the pace they have, because the goal, we had enough bodies in our 18-yard box, and he could shoot it through the legs of Milos. And I cannot come up with another counter-attack which was a big threat. I think all the other threats were mainly set pieces.
Well, there was a moment where Virgil was caught on camera saying it was too open. I think that was the moment, possibly before the moment that caused the free kick for Harvey Barnes. I think just after that, you see Virgil on TV, it's too open.
Yeah, okay.
Probably a bit more concerned.
Yeah. No, but it's good because defenders are always worried about being too open. And in an ideal world, we are never too open. But I watch a lot of games, and even yesterday, Newcastle were 3 or 4 times only in the first half, one-on-one to the goalkeeper. And these are moments we did not face against Newcastle. But there will always be moments, if you play in a league like this, where other teams will show their quality as well. But I think in general, we hardly concede a lot of chances or counter-attack chances. We mainly have conceded a lot of set piece things, because last week he asked what's the difference between us in the Premier League and the Champions League now. If you only look at the set piece, then you have the answer.
Definitely, that's one.
And just to go back to Kerkez, obviously we're pleased to keep holding him in January, but didn't have too long left by his contract. He keen to keep him around at the long term as well.
Oh, it's interesting that there's someone else who's asking contract questions, and talks are not taking place over here. Talks are taking place in other places in this building. And the moment we have any news, then we share it over here. But I am aware, and the club is aware, and he's aware of the fact that he has only 1.5 years left. So that's all I can say about it.
Thanks, Arne.
You're welcome.